কবে হবে বলো সেদিন আমার, কবে হবে বলো সেদিন আমার। धन जन आर कविता सुंदरी, बलि बना चाहिए देह सुख करी। जन्मे जन्मे दाओ ओहे गौरा हरि, जन्मे जन्मे दाओ ओहे गौरा हरि। अहे तू की भक्ति चरणी तो मां, कबे हबे बोलो सेदिन आमार, कबे हबे बोलो सेदिन आमार। करिते श्री कृष्ण नाम उच्चारण, पुलकित देहा गद्गद वचन। वेवर्ण वे पथु हबे संघटन, वेवर्ण वे पथु हबे संघटन। निरंतर नित्रे बबे अश्रुधार, कबे हबे बोलो सेदिन आमार, कबे हबे बोलो सेदिन आमार। कबे नवद्वीपे सुरधुनी तटे, गौर नित्यानंद बलि निष्कपटे। नाचिया गाइया पीड़ाई छुटे, नाचिया गाइया पीड़ाई छुटे। बातुलेर प्राय छाड़िया विचार, कबे हबे बोलो सेदिन आमार, कबे हबे बोलो सेदिन आमार। कबे नित्यानंद मोरे करी दया, छाड़ाई बे मोरा विषय माया। दिया मोरे निज चरण छाया, दिया मोरे निज चरण छाया। नामेर हटिते दिबे अधिकार, कबे हबे बोलो सेदिन आमार, कबे हबे बोलो सेदिन आमार। हिरिबलु टिबा हरि नाम रस, नाम रसे माती होइब विवश। रसिर रसिका चरण परश, रसिर रसिका चरण परश। करिया मजिबर से अनिबार, कबे हबे बोलो सेदिन आमार, कबे हबे बोलो सेदिन आमार। कबे जीवे दया होइबे उदय, निज सुखी निज सुखा भूली सुदिन हृदय। भक्ति विनोद करिया विनय, भक्ति विनोद करिया विनय। श्री आज्ञाटहल करिबे प्रचार, हबे हबे बोलो सेदिन आमार, कबे हबे बोलो सेदिन आमार, कबे हबे बोलो सेदिन आमार, कबे हबे बोलो सेदिन आमार। श्री भक्ति विनोदा ठाकुर की जय हो। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Samita Mataji, can you read the translation, please?
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Translation. When, oh, when will that day be mine? When my offenses, ceasing taste of the name increasing, when in my heart will your mercy shine? When will that day be mine? Lower than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. When will my mind attain this quality? Respectful to all, not expecting their honor. Then shall I taste the name's nectar sublime. When, oh, when will that be mine? Great wealth or followers, feminine beauty, I won't care for them, for the comforts of my body. Birth after birth, give me, O Lord Chaitanya, causeless devotion to your feet divine. When will that be mine? When will I utter Krishna, Krishna, Krishna with words choked up and shivering body? When will I be trembling all over, lose bodily color, tears pouring from my eyes? When will that day be mine? When in Navadvipa along the Ganges bank, shouting Gaura Nityananda as a surrendered soul, dancing, chanting, running everywhere, when will I become half mad of mind? Oh, when will that day be mine? When will Lord Nityananda show mercy upon me? When will I reject the world of Maya? Bestow upon me the shade of your lotus feet. Let the right to preach the name be mine. When will that day be mine? I will beg, borrow, steal the nectar of the name. By the name's effect, I will feel paralyzed. Oh, enjoyer of the nectar of the name, when will I touch your lotus feet till the end of the time? Oh, when will that day be mine? When kindness to all beings will be appearing. With free heart, forget myself, comforting Bhakti Vinoda in all humility praise. Now I will set out to preach your order sublime. Oh, when will that day be mine? Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, everybody. I will be doing a song on Srinivas Acharya. Srinivas Acharya's song on his guru Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and Gopal Bhatta Goswami was actually Guna Manjari. So he is singing about his guru Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So we will sing this song Premaka Punjari Suna Guna Manjari. Guna Manjari is none other than Gopal Bhatta Goswami. प्रेमक पुंजरी सुन गुण मंजरी तुहु से सकल शुभदाई तोहरी गुणागण चिंतय अनुक्षण मधुमन रहल बिकाए प्रेमक पुंजरी सुन गुण मंजरी तू से सकल शुभदाई हरि हरि का बे मोरा शुभ दिन होय हरि हरि का बे मोरा शुभ दिन हो किशोर किशोरी पद सेवन संपद तुया सनि मिली व मोए किशोर किशोरी पद सेवन संपद तुया सनि मिली व मोए प्रेमक पुंजरी शुन गुण मंजरी तू से सकल शुभदाई हेराय कातर जनकुर हेराय कातर जन कुरु कृपा निरक्षण निज गुणे पुरवियाशे हेराय कातर जन कुरु कृपा निरखन निज गुणे पुरवियाशे तुहु नव घन विनु बिंदुवरी खने तुहु नव घन विनु बिंदुवरी खने पुनु को पुरब पिपिय पियाशे तुहु नव घन विनु बिंदुवरी खने पुनु को पुरब पिपिय पियाशे प्रेमक पुंजरी शुन गुण मंजरी तू से सकल शुभदाई तू से अगति गति निश्चय निश्चयति मजुमन इह परिमाणे। तुहु से अगति गति निश्चय निश्चयति मजुमन इह परिमाणे। कहाई कातर भाषे पुनः पुनः श्रीनिवासे करुणाय करु अवधाने। कहाई कातर भाषे पुनः पुनः श्रीनिवासे करुणाय करु अवधाने। प्रेम कपुंजरी शुन गुण मंजरी तुहु से सकल शुभदाई। तुहु से सकल शुभदाई। थैंक यू माता जी।
Translation: O Guna Manjari, the embodiment of divine love, please listen to my prayer. As I ponder upon your countless qualities, my mind simply becomes enchanted by you. O Hari, when will that auspicious day be mine? O Guna Manjari, when will I be able to achieve the treasure of serving the youthful couple along with you? Seeing me as a distressed soul, please constantly bestow your mercy upon me. Due to your own magnanimous nature, please fulfill my desire. Besides you, who, like the water laden cloud of the monsoon, will quench my thirst? You are undoubtedly the hope for the hopeless. In my heart, I am completely convinced about that. I beg you to kindly look upon me with your tender eyes shining with sympathy. Without a doubt, you are the ultimate goal for the most fallen souls. My heart indeed concludes this. Therefore, again and again, Srinivasa speaks with broken speech. Please manifest your mercy upon me. Hare Krishna. Srinivasa Acharya ki jai, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Thank you, Prabhuji, and welcome.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much, Archana Mataji and Raksha Mataji. Thank you very much for the wonderful kirtan. Now we'll start with the today's class, starting with the invocation prayers. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवाञ्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सगन ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं जयतां सुरतोपङ्गुर्मम मन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्य पदाम्बुज राधा मदन मोहनौ दिव्याद् बृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमः श्रीमद् रत्नाङ्गर सिंहासनस्थितौ श्रीमद् राधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवौ पृष्ठालिभिसेव्यमानौ स्मरामि श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भी वंशीवटतटस्थित कर्षणवेणुत्वनैर्गोपीनाथ स्त्रियस्तु नः श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. Now we'll offer our obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नमने गौरतिसे नमः. O most beneficent incarnation, you are Krishna himself appearing as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden color of Srimati Radharani. You are widely distributing the pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Krishna Varnam Tasha Krishnam Sangopangostraparsadam Yagge Sankirtana Prayere Yajanti Sumedasaha. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Nana Shastra Vicharanake Nipunam Sadharma Sangstapako Lokanam Hitakarinam Tribhavane Manya Saranya Karo Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajanan Anandena Mattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Sri Jiva Gopalako. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the three worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the divine couple Sri Radha and Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraят Nashtaprayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. With this, I welcome all the devotees once again to the today's session. We have been studying about Srinivasa Acharya from Prema Vilasa. Last time we learned about the birth of Srinivasa Acharya. I'll cover the last portion, then I'll move on later. Now, what happened at then very auspicious moment after 10 months and 10 days of pregnancy of Lakshmi Priya Devi on the full moon day in the month of April, May, that is exactly the day after the Nrsimha Chaturdasi, a baby boy was born to Lakshmi Priya and Chaitanya Dasa. And hearing this news, Chaitanya Dasa, he rushed to the maternity room after the birth of the child. And soon, when he saw the son's face, his heart was filled with ecstasy. And as the news of birth spread throughout the village, the Brahmanas, they recited Vedic mantras and the singers sang auspicious songs. And even the demigods, they glorified the child from the sky. The women, they made auspicious sounds, and the old and the young, everybody danced while clapping their hands. And the cows and the calves, they moved and wandered here and there, raising their tails and carrying morsels of grass in their mouths. And thus, everybody, each and everybody was happy. And all the villagers were happy to hear of Srinivasa's birth, and they rushed to Chaitanya Dasa's house carrying gifts. And we learned about Durga Dasa, how he had become a Vaishnava, he also arrived with a group of musicians who sang auspicious songs. And Durgadasa danced for a long time and then distributed charity to the Brahmanas. And the only sound that could be heard was the chanting of Sri Radha and the names of Sri Radha and Krishna. And thus the entire day passed in joyful singing and dancing. And Durgadasa finally returned to his home with his party. And Chaitanya Dasa satisfied the assembled Brahmanas and other guests by offering them charity. Now, let us go on to the next incident, that is the other incidents connected with his birth. Now, when Chaitanya Dasa he saw his son's moon-like face, his happiness knew no bounds, and tears flowed from his eyes, and he could not take his eyes off the child. And any mother would be proud to have carried such a son in her womb. The child's beauty far surpassed the beauty of the Gandharvas and the Kinnaras, and Chaitanya Das and his wife were immersed in an ocean of ecstatic bliss and love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the singers, the dancers, they assembled at the house and sang and danced beautifully. And the professional reciters, they sang Radha and Krishna's wonderful pastimes and the various instruments like the mridangas, kartalas, big drums, and other musical instruments were vibrated throughout the house. And the flute players, they played the various melodies and filled the 10 directions with music. And the blind and the deaf, they chanted Lord Hari's name in ecstasy, rolling on the ground and considering themselves as most fortunate. And at the same time, the blind condemned the Creator, Lord Brahma, for not giving them the eyesight to see such an exalted personality like Srinivasa Acharya. And people gave up their fears, lamentation, and distress simply by seeing the child Srinivasa, and the village soon became prosperous and joyful. And let us go on to the next part, that is the Srinivasa Acharya's childhood pastimes. Now, Srimati Jannava Mata and Virachandra Prabhu, they had ordered for writing of this book, Prema Vilasa, and that's why the writer, he says, I am writing this book. And although he says that I do not know anything to write, but because I have been ordered by my spiritual master, I am doing so. And we are hearing about Srinivasa Acharya's childhood pastimes. Now, his father Chaitanya Dasa was so pleased to watch anybody and everybody who were coming to see his son and seeing his son's influence, that he rarely left the house after Srinivas was born. He and his wife raised their son in great happiness. Soon it was time for the child's grain eating ceremony. And on that auspicious occasion, and at that auspicious moment, Chaitanya Dasa fed Srinivasa with the Lord's remnants, that is Mahaprasada, and both he and his wife, they felt great satisfaction to see the boy eating prasada. And later, when Srinivasa was a little grown up, Chaitanya Dasa conducted a sacred thread ceremony giving to his son, and his mind was enchanted to see his son dressed in saffron robes. But then a doubt entered his mind. Srinivasa showed no interest in worldly affairs or even the boy's childhood pursuits. Now, was Srinivasa destined to become a renounced sannyasi? Chaitanya Dasa and his wife could not abide that they may lose their son. Now, Srinivasa's teacher, however, was a great devotee. His name was Vidyanidhi Pandita, and he was very happy to see that his student was materially totally detached from anything and everything, and he was sure that the boy would soon grow to become a great scholar. Still, Vidyanidhi Pandita said, he told Srinivasa that you should finish your studies quickly because you will have to go to Vrindavan. The land of Bengal is very, very dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he wants to spread his mission there by distributing devotional literature. And you have not studied anything for the last 3 years. I am your teacher, so please listen to me and do what I am saying. If you disobey my order, then you will forget everything. But Srinivasa continued not to show any interest in his worldly studies. Instead, he simply chanted Krishna's holy name, and seeing this, his teacher was totally disappointed. Now, what about the parents? Lakshmi Priya and Chaitanya Dasa could not understand their son, and they were astonished by his behavior. And Srinivasa always chanted the holy names of Sri Radha and Krishna, and he would pay no attention to his academic studies. And no one could understand what he was saying. And when he spoke to himself, sitting alone inside the house, and it was undoubtedly Krishna's arrangement that even though Srinivasa did not study, he still went on to become a learned scholar one day. Now, next, what happened one day, Srinivasa's mother again requested him to go to the teacher and learn something. Now, Srinivasa agreed and went to his teacher's house with his books. And his teacher, Dhananjay Vidyanidhi, he was very, very glad to see him again. But he asked, "Oh, Srinivasa, why have you come to see me? I cannot teach you anything because I have forgotten everything I had previously learned, and you have stolen my knowledge and education. Somehow I must have offended or annoyed the goddess Saraswati. Perhaps it is because at first I could not understand your glories." The teacher is telling the student. Now, thereafter, what happened? Srinivasa, he was greatly embarrassed to hear his teacher speaking like this, and immediately offered his obeisances to the teacher. He picked up his books and left. But he did not go home immediately. Now, Srinivasa's parents had already been worried that their son might give up his studies and at any time and become renounced. And they did not see Srinivasa returning home. And Chaitanya Dasa began to search the neighborhood. But he searched in vain, he could not find him. Upon returning home, however, he found Srinivasa in his own room and he was fast asleep. And there was a book in his hand. And Srinivasa was embarrassed to see his parents standing over him when he awoke, but he smiled and asked his mother for rice. And after finishing his meal, the boy and his parents went to sleep for the night. Now, suddenly, a voice from the sky was announced that this boy will be master of complete knowledge. I am Goddess Saraswati. By Sri Chaitanya's order, I have come myself to give Srinivasa the best education. Then this voice woke the entire household, but everyone was surprised to find no one was there other than themselves present in the house. And Srinivasa, the parents, they were wonderstruck and they felt proud of their son and they embraced him with great affection. And from that time onwards, Srinivasa did not bother to study anymore any mundane subjects. Rather, he remained immersed in chanting the holy name of Sri Radha and Krishna, the names of the divine couple. Now, let us go on to the next portion of his life, that is his pastimes prior to going to Vrindavan. He would go to Vrindavan, but what happened before that, that is what is described here. Now, one morning, Narahari Sarkar Thakura, who was on his way from Gazipur to Srikhanda, he arrived in Srinivasa Thakura's house. And what happened, Narhari Sarkar Thakur was astonished to see Srinivasa's golden complexion, and it reminded him strongly about Lord Chaitanya's golden complexion, golden form. It seemed to him that Lord Gauranga had personally appeared in Srinivasa's body. And because of this, Narhari Sarkar Thakur at once he understood that this boy could not be an ordinary soul. Now Srinivasa offered his obeisances to Narhari Sarkar Thakura, who then politely asked, my dear boy, what is your name? And then the boy, he replied that my name is Srinivasa. Now I live in the village Chakhandi and I am your servant. And as soon as Narahari Sarkar Thakur heard the name Srinivasa, he became joyful and immediately understood that the boy has been empowered by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He embraced Srinivasa with great affection and soaked his body with the tears of love coming out from his eyes. And Narahari Sarkar Thakur then said that Lord Nityananda is anxious about you. I also had a great desire to meet you, and now my desire has been fulfilled. Jannava Mata and Veerachandra Prabhu have instructed me to send you to Vrindavan as soon as possible. But I did not know who you were until I found you just now. Now it is certainly Lord Chaitanya's mercy that I happen to meet you, and the Lord will manifest many, many wonderful pastimes through you in Vrindavana. And after saying this, Narhari Sarkar Thakur, he departed, and Srinivasa immediately felt his separation and became unhappy, and his mind became agitated by love of Godhead. And as he returned home, he sometimes cried, sometimes he laughed, sometimes he danced, sometimes he rolled on the ground. He cried so loudly that the neighbors would come to see him, see what was the matter. And his parents were especially surprised to see him in this state because they could not understand why he was crying day and night. And finally, an old village Brahmana told his parents, listen carefully, when Srinivas was bathing, I met Narhari Sarkar, Narhari Thakur Mahasaya of Srikhanda. He had been like this ever since that meeting, and all of you should be patient and know that everything will be all right. And as soon as Srinivasa heard Narhari's name, he became alert and he began to smile. And from that day onwards, he began to feel intense separation from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he began to cry that I was unable to see the lotus feet of Krishna Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu. I could not see the lotus feet of Advaita Prabhu and Swarupa Damodara, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. I did not witness the Sankirtana of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. How unfortunate I am. I was not born while they were performing their pastimes in this material world. And with such words, Srinivasa, he cried pathetically and condemned the providence for arranging his birth so late. And then a voice from the sky announced that, O Srinivasa, you are the personification of love of God. Do not lament. Soon you will propagate the glories of Sri Radha and Krishna's pastimes and will inundate the entire world with love of God. Lord Chaitanya has sent two brothers, Rupa and Sanatana, to Vrindavan to compile the devotional literature. They await you anxiously. Go quickly to Vrindavan. If you delay any longer, you may never get the chance to see them. Now, everyone who heard this miraculous voice was struck with wonder. And Srinivasa's parents, they were happy to see that their child had become somewhat pacified by then. And understanding his father's heart, Srinivasa fondly asked him for something to eat. And his father immediately arranged many the rice preparations and fed Srinivasa with great affection. And Srinivasa, he wondered, how will I leave my mother and go away to Vrindavan? I am still young. How can I possibly go alone to Vrindavan? Still, the Supreme Lord desires that I go there. And sometimes later, some days later, Chaitanya Dasa, he fell ill with high fever and did not break for even 7 days. In the end, he gave up his life. And Srinivasa cried profusely and then performed all the rituals for his father. and thereafter, after his father's death, he was saddened. However, his mother's pathetic condition saddened him more than his father's. And his mother, Lakshmi Priya, she cried that, "O Lord, we had no son, and you kindly gave us now. Now, by the cruel arrangement of providence, my husband could not fulfill his desire. Our son is merely a child. How will he tolerate his father's death? He is only a small boy. How will he survive? Now I am alone with my son. What will happen to us?" Now Srinivas was unhappy to see his mother's condition like this, and he cried profusely, thinking about his father. And the village women, they also tried to pacify Lakshmi Priya, but she could not be pacified by anybody. Then thereafter, what happened? Again, a voice was heard from the sky. It said, "O mother, why are you lamenting? You do not know your son's exalted qualities. Go to Yajigram and you will understand everything." Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu they have ordered Sri Rupa Goswami to write books about bhakti. Your son will distribute love of God throughout the world. Therefore, take care of him nicely and give up your useless lamentation. And after hearing this voice, Lakshmi Priya, her grief subsided and she began to treat her son as her only life and soul. Then the funeral rites, when the funeral rites were over, Srinivasa went to Yajigrama to meet Narahari Sarkar Thakura. Then one night, as he was sleeping at Yajigrama, Srinivasa dreamed that Lord Chaitanya was ordering him to go to Vrindavana. How can I go to Vrindavana and leave my mother here? He was thinking. And he thought, besides, I am not yet qualified to go to Vrindavana. But on Narahari Sarkar Thakura's advice, Srinivasa brought his mother to Yajigrama. Now the village landlord gave Srinivasa a piece of land and helped him build a house. And after residing there for some time, he left his mother and went to Srikhanda. And there he saw Raghunandan Thakura sitting under a tree. And seeing Srinivasa's effulgence form, Raghunandan Thakur asked, "Where have you come from?" He said, "My name is Srinivasa. I have just come from Yajigramu to see your lotus feet." Now, as soon as Raghunandan heard his name, Srinivasa, he became filled with ecstatic love. He caught hold of Srinivasa and embraced him with great affection. "I have heard your name directly from the Lord's mouth, and now I am pleased that I have met you. Let us take first darshan of Narari Sarkar Thakura, and then we can talk something more." Now, Raghunandan and Srinivasa went to Narari Sarkar Thakura, who greeted them with great affection. He said, Narahari Sarkar Thakura said, "Please sit down." And Virachandra Prabhu wrote me a letter saying that I should immediately send you to Vrindavan. Now, Narahari Sarkar Thakur then mercifully placed his hand on Srinivasa Thakur, Srinivasa Acharya's head, so that Srinivasa immediately became filled with ecstatic love and he fell unconscious. Now, a devotee named Narayan Sena was standing nearby and he quickly lifted Srinivasa and took him to his house. Now, later that day, Narayan Sena uh, took Srinivasa and Raghunandana again to Narahari Sarkar Thakura. all the three, they offered their obeisances to the Thakura. And he said that, Srinivasa, tell me how you wish to go to Vrindavan. Now Srinivasa replied that I do not know anything. How will I be able to travel to Vrindavan? Now Narahari Sarkar Thakur, then he said that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already informed Gopal Bhatt Goswami about your coming. I know that you are deceiving me by sending me to Vrindavan. I come from Chakhandi just to take shelter of your lotus feet. I have surrendered myself to you. Srinivas Acharya said. Then the Thakur, he explained that whatever you have said is all right, but I must inform you that Gopal Bhatt Goswami is your spiritual master. I cannot go against the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order. For now, you can stay here and chant the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Then thereafter, Srinivasacharya, he returned home and thought deeply about what Narahari Sarkar Thakur had told him, and spent the entire night trying to decide from whom to take initiation. Then at the dawn, Lord Gauranga mercifully appeared to him in a dream and said that, listen, Srinivasa, why are you thinking so much? You have appeared just to fulfill my mission. So there is no need for you to waste any more time. Go to Vrindavan quickly and take shelter of the lotus feet of Gopal Bhatt Goswami. He is very, very dear to me, and he is none different from Rupa and Sanatana. Gopal Bhatt Goswami will give you whatever devotional literature Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis have compiled, and all of them, they are waiting for you at Vrindavan. Now, when the Lord had finished his words, Srinivasa, he offered his obeisances with great devotion. Then the Lord placed his lotus hands on Srinivasa's head and said, may your desire be fulfilled. Then the Lord disappeared. And at that time, Srinivasa Acharya, he got up and he realized that he must go to Vrindavan immediately. He went to Narahari Sarkar Thakur and told him in detail about the dream. And he said that a golden child appeared to me in my dream last night and ordered me to go to Vrindavan at once to take shelter of Gopal Bhatt Goswami. Then Narahari Sarkar was happy to hear this news, and he blessed Srinivasa Acharya, touching his head. He said that may the abode of Vrindavana bestow mercy on you. I have written a letter to Veerachandra Prabhu asking him permission to send you to Vrindavan. You should stay here until I get a reply. Now, while waiting at Srikhanda, Srinivasa Acharya developed two desires. What are these? To see Lord Jagannatha and to study Srimad Bhagavatam under Gadadhar Pandita. Then he asked Narahari Sarkar Thakur's permission to pursue these two desires. Now the Thakur encouraged him and even arranged for a Vaishnava to accompany him to Nilachala, that is Jagannath Puri. And in due course of time, Srinivasa and his companion, they arrived at Jagannath Puri, and upon arriving, they took darshan of Lord Jagannatha and went to Gadadhar Pandita's home. Gadadhar Pandita was suffering greatly from separation from Lord Chaitanya, and sometimes he was unconscious, sometimes he laughed loudly, and sometimes he appeared inert. And so when Srinivasa approached him and offered him respectful obeisances while chanting the names of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, he became aware of their presence, that is Gadadhar Pandita, and his sense of Lord separation increased. Overwhelmed, Gadadhar Pandita slowly opened his eyes and asked, who are you? Please come in and so that I can embrace you. Tell me your name. I am pleased to hear my Lord's name coming from your mouth. You have purchased me by chanting the name of Lord Chaitanya. Now, he also said that recently I dreamed that a devotee from Chakhandi Srinivasa, son of Chaitanya Dasa and Lakshmi Priya, had come from Bengal. He seemed to be the personification of love of God. And in my dream, I saw that he would preach the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I think you are that same person. Please identify yourself and thus specify my mind. Then Srinivasa, he said that you are my master and I am your insignificant servant. Gadadhar Pandita said that the Lord ordered me to teach you Srimad Bhagavatam, and during his final pastimes, the Lord ordered me to narrate Krishna's pastimes to you. And you have told me to, he has told me to leave at Tota Gopinath temple until you come, and then send you to Vrindavan with a letter for Rupa and Sanatan. Now, Srinivasa's lessons in Srimad Bhagavatam began immediately. And while reciting the Bhagavatam to him, tears of ecstatic love flowed from Gadadhara's eyes. And this made it almost too difficult to read Srimad Bhagavatam. And after a few days, Gadadhar Pandita told Srinivasa, take this letter to Narahari's Sarkar Thakur along with this new book, and you should go to Srikhanda from here, and then you should move to Vrindavan. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who is the incarnation of Guna Manjari, you take initiation from him, and you should start from here today only, and take Lord Gopinath's remnants and leave for Bengal. And then Gadadhar Pandita, when he finished his instructions to Srinivasa Acharya, he closed his eyes and began to cry while calling out Chaitanya, Nityananda. And at some moments he cried, and at some moments he smiled. And he was so absorbed in the feelings of separation from Lord Chaitanya that he forgot about Lord Gopinatha. And because of his intense separation from the Lord, he sometimes spoke like a madman. And Srinivasa was astonished to witness Gadadhar Pandita's his exalted condition. He offered his obeisances to him and left, carrying the letter and the book for Narahari Sarkar Thakur. And soon he arrived in Bengal and went to Narahari Sarkar Thakur's house, where he entered and offered his obeisances to him. Then Srinivasa Acharya, he said that I have a great desire to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandita. Please allow me to return from Nilachala so that I can continue my study with him. Now Narahari Sarkar Thakur said that yes, you may return to Nilachala without delay, without otherwise you might miss him. And now Narahari Sarkar arranged for the same Vaishnava who had accompanied him earlier to Nilachala, and Srinivasa departed chanting Chaitanya, Nityananda, Gadadhara like this. And excited, he walked up to Yajpur, where he received the terrible news of Gadadhar Pandita's disappearance. And this place is about 150 kilometers from Jagannath Puri toward Balasore. And Srinivasa was so shocked that he felt unconscious. And when he regained consciousness, he began to bitterly weep, refusing to be comforted or to eat. And his Vaishnava companion was anxious to see Srinivasa's condition like this. And after a great deal of persuasion, he was finally able to make Srinivasa eat something. Then both of them returned to Bengal. And when Srinivasa arrived at Srikhanda, he offered his obeisances to all the senior Vaishnavas there, and he broke the tragic news of Gadadhar Pandita's disappearance. And at that time, Srinivasa Acharya, he developed a strong desire to go to Vrindavan. So the next morning, he left Srikhanda for Navadipa, where he came to live near Lord Chaitanya's house. For the first 3 days, he cried loudly throughout the day and night, speaking the name of Gadadhar Pandita, and he fasted throughout this time. And then he collected some rice and a small pot, then went to the bank of the Ganges to cook. He ate his meal while feeling intense separation. And one day, Srinivasa Pandita, he met Bamsi Badanananda Thakur, who asked him, "What is your name? Where do you live? I have never seen you before." He said, "My name is Srinivasa and I live in Yajagrama. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has ordered me to study Srimad Bhagavatam under Gadadhar Pandita, but I am so unfortunate that I have not been able to do so." Now then Srinivasa Acharya, he began to cry. And then Isana Thakur, he arrived there. And Isana was compassionate toward all living entities. And as soon as he saw the great devotee Srinivasa, his heart was filled with ecstasy, and he asked about Srinivasa's welfare. And when he heard that Srinivasa was alone, living like a renunciant, he immediately understood that the boy must be empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, when Isana returned home, he informed Vishnupriya about Srinivasa. He said, "I met a wonderful boy on the bank of Ganges who was crying profusely while chanting Gadadhar Pandita's name. He is alone, his eyes are constantly filled with tears, and his body is thin. Kindly allow me to feed him." Now, Vishnupriya understood that this boy must be the one destined to be the personification of love of God. So he ordered, "Go and give him rice and other things." Then Vishnupriya also said that he must be suffering due to feelings of intense separation from the Lord. Then Isana Thakur, please remember that Isana Thakur was working for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally in their house when he was there in this material world. Now, Isana, he happily gathered some cooking ingredients and went to meet Srinivasa. And he told him, "Cook this food on the bank of Ganges and eat." Then Srinivasa when he was about to finish cooking, Vishnupriya sent 10 sannyasis just to test his devotion and renunciation. And Srinivasa was glad to see the sannyasis and offered them due respect. And the sannyasis, they said that we are very, very hungry. Can you give us something to eat? And Srinivasa Acharya replied that it is my good fortune that you have come here. And the prasada is ready to, so please sit down and I'll serve you. But you have only a small quantity of rice, they said. How will you feed us? Srinivasa said, "Don't worry. Your hunger will be totally fulfilled and simply by the potency of the Lord's remnant." Now the sannyasis, they sat down in two rows and Srinivasa happily served them the prasada. Actually, Srinivasa had cooked only for about the half a kilogram of rice, but 11 people were able to eat to their full satisfaction. And when Vishnupriya heard about this incident from Isana, she understood that the Lord Chaitanya, the prediction has come true, and she decided to meet the boy. That night, when Vishnupriya, accompanied by her maidservant, went to take bath in the Ganges, she saw beautiful Srinivasa and felt great happiness within her heart. She thought that I want to speak to this boy, but I do not know how to approach him. How can I look into a young man's face and speak to him? If my Lord gives me strength, I will overcome my shyness and know that he has my Lord's mercy. Now then Vishnupriya then ordered Isana to summon Srinivasa so that she could ask him why he was crying all the time. And when Srinivasa heard that he had been invited by in the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's house by Vishnupriya, he raised his arms and danced in ecstasy. Later, when he arrived at the Lord's house, he was shivering with ecstasy. His ecstatic symptoms were so intense that he found himself unable to enter the house of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and so he remained at a distance from it. Then Isana, he informed Vishnupriya that here is Srinivasa, he is your servant, and he is offering obeisances unto you. Now, Vishnupriya removed her veil and looked at Srinivasa's face. When she did so, she immediately understood that the person standing before her was empowered by none other than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And setting aside her shyness, she called for Srinivasa and asked him why he was always crying and why he was wandering about alone. In reply, Srinivasa told her that Pandit Goswami had ordered him to go to Vrindavana, and he also informed how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had ordered him to go to Vrindavana, although he has not been able to do so till now. And then she said that you are still young. It is too early for you to renounce your family. I think you should go home. It is difficult to become detached from material life. Now, Srinivasa, he folded his hands and prayed to her, O mother, please allow me to stay here and serve your lotus feet. Only then will my life become successful and will I be able to be saved from danger. I have no one in this world except my mother. Now my only desire is to go to Vrindavan, but I know that in such a journey is not possible without Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. Then Vishnupriya replied that you should go to Vrindavan when you are mature. Now Srinivasa spent the night crying and calling the name of Gadadhar Pandita, and Srinivasa's feeling of separation intensified Vishnupriya's own feelings of separation from Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and her distress doubled as she remembered the Lord. And she kept on chanting the name of the Lord. And hearing this, one becomes very much happy. And we should know that nothing is impossible for a person who has developed intense separation, intense attachment for chanting of the Lord's holy name, because the Supreme Lord has invested all his energy in his names. And what to speak of the pure name of the holy name, even the reflection of the holy name, that is Nana Bhasa, destroys all sinful reactions and allows one to easily attain love of God. And it is said that Lord's holy name is just like a desire tree. If anyone chants a prescribed number of rounds, he is sure to attain all perfection. That is why all the scriptures emphasize chanting the Lord's holy name. And Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestows his mercy upon a person who is not attached to sense gratification, but who chants the holy name of the Supreme Lord. And chanting the holy name is the best process amongst all other sadhana in the age of Kali. And out of good fortune accumulated over many, many lifetimes, one can develop love and devotion at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord simply by chanting his holy name. With this, shall we take a 5 minutes break? Then we'll start from where we have left. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, one question.
Yes,
This Srinivas Acharya is different from Srivas Pandit.
Uh-huh.
When we chant the Panchatattva mantra,
Uh-huh.
we say Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivas Adi, Gaur Bhakta. So Srivas is different from Srinivas Acharya.
Yes, yes. Srivasacharya is actually an incarnation of Narada. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Srinivasacharya, he was a gopi in during the time of Lord Krishna's pastimes about 5,000 years back. He's the eternal associate of the Supreme Lord. And as we have learned, he came because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted him to come to propagate the love of Godhead to everybody in Bengal.
And
We'll hear.
he's after the time, after the disappearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Okay.
Yes, we are hearing about these, all the three great the associates, rather the devotees, that is Srinivasa Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, and Shyamananda Prabhu. They came after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
After Chaitanya.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And the best part of his story is coming when we reach the books. All the three they were carrying from Vrindavan to Bengal, they got lost, and how he found them, that is the best part of the story. We'll come to that slightly later. And we'll also hear about the wonderful pastimes of Narottam Das Thakur also, how he became a disciple of Lokanath Goswami, and also Shyamananda Prabhu, who was tasked to preach in Odisha. So all these great things we'll hear one by one.
Yes, wonderful people.
Thank you, Prabhu. Welcome back. We'll start from where we left. Till now, what I was telling you, Nivasa Acharya was staying at Vishnu Priya's house. Now, what happened one night when Vishnupriya was, she had slept at night for about 3 hours. While she was sleeping, she dreamed that she saw two brothers, Gora and Nitai, chanting the holy name of Lord in ecstasy. Then Gauranga suddenly said that, my dear mother, Sachi, don't you know that your daughter-in-law has left my dear devotee Srinivasa outside the house while she is sleeping comfortably inside the house? I have many, many things to do with Srinivasa. Therefore, please send him to Abhirama's house along with Isana. And upon hearing this, she got up, woke up, and thereafter she could not go to sleep. Therefore, she called Isana and ordered him to bring Srinivasa. And Isana, he went outside and saw that Srinivasa was sitting on an asana and he was crying. He asked him, young Brahmana, come with me. Now Srinivasa followed Isana into the house, and when he found himself before Vishnupriya, he quickly offered his obeisances unto her. And Vishnupriya called him to her side and placed her lotus feet on his head. And Srinivasa was immediately filled with ecstatic love and began to roll on the ground. Then she told, listen, you are indeed very, very fortunate. There is no doubt that you have been favored by Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, you should go to Santipura and then to Khadadaha. And this journey will help you to learn about the glories of Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu. I am sure Jannava Mata will be glad to see you. So do not delay. Go quickly and experience many, many wonderful things. And after you have visited these places, thereafter you should go to Vrindavana and always remember the lotus feet of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and you will attain affection from him and he will give you perfection. Then Srinivasa offered his obeisances to Vishnupriya, then left for Santipura. However, he did not know where in Santipura to go. Only that he was to see Advaita Prabhu. Now, Srinivas had no idea how this was possible because it had already been 3 years since Advaita Prabhu had left this world. And how had Srinivasa been told that he would be able to see him? Now Srinivasa became confused and wondered what to do. And suddenly he saw a tall personality standing before him. And this person's hands they extended to his knees, and his entire body was lit with an effulgence. And as soon as Srinivasa saw this person, he began to shiver and he closed his eyes and fell to the ground. And this personality was none other than Advaita Prabhu. Now, calling Srinivasa, he told him that immediately Advaita Acharya, after he met him, he offered his obeisances. And Advaita Acharya, he touched Srinivasa's head and blessed him. And then he embraced him with great affection, saying that Lord Gauravari has sent Gopala Bhatta Goswami for you, for your benefit, and you are destined to take initiation from him. The Lord displayed his anger at me, but he has given you his mercy so that you can carry out his mission. He has sent Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis to Vrindavan to compile devotional literature. You are destined to propagate the teachings contained in these books to the general public. Now I bless you wholeheartedly and do not tell anyone that I appeared to you from here. And from here you should go to Khadadaha and take darshana of Jannava Mata and then go to Vrindavan. You will be able to see Rupa Goswami and Gopala Bhatta Goswami there. And in future, you will inundate the entire country with Lord Chaitanya's love and compassion, and always chant Govinda's name, and you will never feel distress. Now, those who preach that Lord Chaitanya is the supreme paramour will certainly meet ruination, even if they are my followers. And concluding this, Advaita Prabhu disappeared, and leaving Srinivasa unhappy, he left. At that time, Sita Mata was on her way to take bath in the Ganges, and she saw Srinivasa crying. She approached him and patted him on the back with affection and sweetly asked, who are you? Why are you crying? It appears that you have received my Lord's darsana. Take me where you are from and tell me where you are from and why you are here. Then he replied that my name is Srinivasa and I was born in Chakhandi, and Vishnu Priya Devi ordered me to come here and see all of you. Now Sita Mata was filled with joy to hear Srinivasa's name, and he said that, my dear child, I greatly desired to see you. It is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy that I meet you here today by the side of Ganges. Now, as she was speaking this, Sita Mata saw Gopal Goswami returning from his bath in the river, and Sita Mata called, stay here with this young boy till I come back from my bath. Gopal Goswami then complied with this, and when Sita Devi returned, she invited Srinivasa to her home with a joyful heart, and she offered him a sitting place and the remnants of the Lord's food, that is prasada, and then went to the kitchen to cook a meal. And after cooking, Sita Devi offered the food to Krishna, then offered him water for Achamana and put him to rest, then called Gopal Goswami and Srinivasa to come and take prasada. The two Vaishnavas sat down to honor Mahaprasada at Sita Devi's house, and she served both of them. And the prasada was wonderful, and both of them they enjoyed the food because it was cooked by Sita Thakurani, and it had been tasted by the Supreme Lord Krishna. And that evening, Srinivasa, he watched the Lord's beautiful Aarti ceremony. Then he spent that night in Santipura, and the next morning, just before taking Sita Mata's permission to depart, he asked her, can you please explain me how Advaita Prabhu is none different from Lord Govinda? Why do you need to hear this? Sita Mata asked. Better you mind your business, go to Khadagaha and be happy. But Srinivas was not satisfied, and he continued to inquire until Mother Sita finally agreed to teach him what he wanted to know. He said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered the two demons, Jagai and Badhai. He angrily told Haridas Thakur that if Advaita Acharya did not give him love of God, he would drink all the love of God in this world. The Lord then returned to his home, and then Jagadananda Pandita to Santipura, then with a message. And from that day, the Lord seemed angry. And to help Lord Nityananda in his preaching, he was behaving like this. And Lord Chaitanya then sent Ramai and Sundarananda to Bengal for preaching, and then sent Kamadeva and Nagara to Advaita Prabhu. Then Nagara became envious of Advaita Acharya and started proclaiming himself as the one who is helping the Lord in his mission. And as soon as she heard this, she became angry and rejected Nagara. And after this incident, she never looked at his face. And she said that some of my sons followed Achyuta and the other Sunagara, whose line is opposed to ours. Those who follow Achyuta are dear to us. I am a maidservant of Lord Chaitanya, and those who oppose this maidservant's son will have no relationship with Advaita. Just a brief about the sons of Advaita Acharya. Some of his sons, they were very great preachers, very great devotees, but some of them they were non-devotees also. And the Srinivas Acharya, he was very, very happy. Then next, before we go to Jannava Mata of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, I want to tell you a story how the marriage of Nityananda Prabhu was performed with Jannava Mata, but that I'll tell you later on because that will take some time. And that portion is not from this book. That's why it is a little different. I'll tell you that story, then we'll come back to this book later on. So I have finished the portion I had assigned for today. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Very wonderful pastimes, Prabhu. It is like coming in front of the eyes, all the pastimes. Very, very beautiful, Prabhu. Very nice. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Mataji. Thank you.
This is from which book, Prabhu?
This is from Prema Bilasa.
Okay. Very nice. Okay.
Hare Krishna
So now,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Dandot Prana. So nice, so details as Brother said, Mataji said that Srinivas Acharya, how his childhood, how he was born, how he grew up. This gives a lot of things. How they made their way out, right? Probably it's not a straightforward. They were born and suddenly they started reading and they become acharyas. We see that, right? Throughout the struggle, meeting Janu Mataji and um, Sita Mataji and so other devotees, how they how their entire life went through. It's always it gives a lot of motivation. We understand hard work they have gone through also, Prabhuji. So it's very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. That is very, very true. They are actually all these devotees, they are the permanent associates of the Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord, he wants to learn from their lives. You are very right in saying that they did not become famous overnight. They also had to work like a common person. They had to face so much obstacles, and thereafter they become famous. And once we know the full story, history of the life of these three Goswamis or three Acharyas, Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, and Shyamananda Prabhu, will realize how great they were and how much blessings, how much mercy they had of the Supreme Lord. And because the Supreme Lord had brought them to perform a particular task, they were destined to do that. Oh, we should learn so many things, and later on we'll learn just to recover the stolen books of the Goswami, how much effort the Srinivas Acharya had to put. That is the wonderful story that will come up later.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Danvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
So wonderful class, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. प्रभुजी मेरा एक सवाल है कि आफ्टर चैतन्य महाप्रभु की लीला प्रकट होने के बाद रूप गोस्वामी, सनातन गोस्वामी वो कितने सालों तक रहे थे पीछे?
Okay, exact number of years I will give you next time. But generally, when the first ones to go to Vrindavan were Loknath Goswami and Bhogar Goswami, we'll hear about them in detail also, because till now we have heard only their names, and that they were the first ones to go to Vrindavan. then the Goswamis, that is the Sanatana Goswami, the first Rupa Goswami, then Sanatana Goswami and the other Goswamis, they went there. And they stayed for many years. Exactly how many years, I will just take up and let you know in the next class. But when Srinivasa Acharya went to Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami was there. Sanatana Goswami was not there after some time. And thereafter we will learn Jannava Mata, she comes to Vrindavan after the that Kheturi festival. But by then Sanatana Goswami had already left. So Sanatana Goswami was the first Goswami to leave this material world after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had left. Exactly how many years, I will tell you after calculating. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much.
ओके प्रभु जी। तो प्रभु जी जब गोपाल भट्ट गोस्वामी उनके गुरु थे, तो उधर ही मिले थे पहली बार। अभी अभी हम आपने जो नरेशन किया
Yes, yes, we will study.
सीता देवी के साथ, सीता देवी को मिले तभी।
नहीं, Gopal Bhatt Goswami, he will meet him in Vrindavan. And please remember one thing: these three, Srinivasa Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, and Chamananda Prabhu, they went only once to Vrindavan. Then they came with the books of the Goswamis, and they never came back to Vrindavan. They started preaching there, and that time when they were there, even Jiva Goswami was there, and Rupa Goswami was there, Gopal Bhatt Goswami was there, Raghunath Das Goswami was there. All these Goswamis were there except Sanatana Goswami. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, Prabhuji. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Your one question remains that I'll answer next time. That is tomorrow. In tomorrow's class only I'll answer. How many years when they disappeared, where are the samadhis are there, and all those things I'll cover. I'll take about 5 minutes or so. Any other comment or question on today's class?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances on glories to Prabhupada. Very nice class, Prabhuji, on Srila Srinivas Acharya. What I missed, what was he in Krishna Leela? He was a gopi. What name of the gopi?
Yeah, last time I told you, I'm just forgetting the name. I'll when I remember, I'll tell you. Yes, all these people, the acharyas, they were gopis or manjaris. He was a manjari in Krishna's pastime. I'm just forgetting the name. I'll tell you.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Any other question?
Mani Manjari, Prabhu. Mani Manjari.
Huh?
Mani Manjari.
Mani Manjari, yes. Mani Manjari. He was Mani Manjari in Krishna's pastimes. Any other comment or question?
Hare Krishna,
Dhanavad Pranam.
Very nice to hear about this. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Any other question?
Thank you so much. It was very nice.
Thank you very much. Or if there are no questions, we have got half an hour. Then let me cover that portion also, the marriage of Nityananda Prabhu. And as I told, it is not given in Prema Vilasa. It is given in Chaitanya Bhagavata actually. I'll tell you what is given in Chaitanya Bhagavata about the marriage of Nityananda Prabhu. Now, what happened one day, Nityananda Prabhu, he woke up early in the morning and he set out for Ambika Nagara, or that is known as Ambika Kalna also. Some of you would have gone there. I have gone there while coming from Calcutta to Mayapur. Now, what he did, he took a servant with him whose name was Uddharana Datta, who was a merchant by profession, and he was a very close associate of Nityananda Prabhu. And when Nityananda he arrived at the door of Suryadasa Pandita, he sent Uddharana Dasa inside the house, and Uddharana Dasa Datta went inside the house and informed Suryadasa about Lord Chaitanya's arrival in his house. And hearing this, he rushed out from his house and fell at the feet of Nityananda Prabhu. And Suryadasa offered his obeisances, and with folded hands he asked him, what good fortune I have. The Lord has come to my house. Then he asked him, uh, why you have come, what can I do for you? Now the Lord said that I have come to you with a purpose. Please give me your daughter's hand in marriage. Now the Pandita knew the glories of Nityananda Prabhu, but at that moment he forgot everything because he was bewildered by the Lord's illusory energy, as it happens, because it is the Leela of the Lord. Now, one may ask how it is possible. Now, the Brahmana, he asked, the Suryadasa, he asked how it is possible. We first have to weigh many considerations such as the caste, the star, the family, and although you are the supreme personality of Godhead, Narayana, you are an outcast, and I am a Brahmana. And hearing this, Nityananda Prabhu left that house while everyone watched him doing so, and Suryadasa Pandita, he felt disappointed and went inside the house. Now he said, will my dream come true? He thought, then he requested, rather prayed to Lord Krishna, will Lord Krishna, will it ever happen in providence that Nityananda Prabhu will become my son-in-law? Now, pondering over this, Suryadasa, he assembled his relatives and informed that of this incident and the Lord's arrival. And he said, last night I had an astonishing dream. He said, I saw a wonderful person coming to my house, sitting on a chariot with a flag, and he was huge like a mighty wrestler. His complexion was golden, and his eyes were reddish. And he got down from the chariot and smilingly asked, is this Panditji's house? And he carried a plow on his shoulder and held a stick in his hand. And he gestured for me to come. And flowers decorated his hair, and he wore golden earrings. He was dressed in blue garments, and anklets decorated his feet. And he said to me, I am going to marry your daughter. You have not recognized me until today. Saying this, he suddenly disappeared. Then I got out of bed and found that it is morning. Now, as Jannava listened to her father's talks from within her room, her natural love for Lord Nityananda Prabhu arose within her heart, and indeed tears of love came out from her eyes. She covered her face with a cloth, but the cloth became soaked with her tears. Now we see, we know that we see many things in our dreams, but sometimes we think they are not true. And the Pandita was thinking like this. He said, Nityananda Prabhu is the supreme Brahman, and we are but simple householders, and how can we offer him our daughter? Then Suryadasa Pandita was naturally very soft-hearted, and upon hearing all this, he prayed to the Lord to save him. Then suddenly everyone had a cry coming from inside the house, and something happened to Jannava. Now they rushed inside and picked her up and brought her to the front veranda, and they found that she was totally unconscious and her eyes were rolling upwards in their sockets, and her entire body had become cold, and her face was covered with perspiration. Then a doctor came and diagnosed that she had epilepsy, saying that there was no cure for this disease. And he informed the girl's relatives that seldom does a person with epilepsy lives for long. Then he treated her according to the prescriptions given in the Ayurvedic scriptures. Then, even after applying proper medication, there was no improvement at all. Then the physician said that take your daughter to the bank of the Ganges and arrange for her funeral rites to be performed. Now Suryadasa Pandita, he began to cry when he heard these words. Gauridasa, who was there, he consoled him. He said, I think we have committed an offense at the feet of Avadhuta Nityananda. Gauridasa was actually brother of Suryadasa Pandita, and Gauridasa Pandita's story I have told you how Chaitanya and Nityananda they physically stayed in his house in the form of a deity. And that story I told you a long time back. Now he said, I think we have committed some offense. That's why this thing has happened. We must beg him pardon and bring him back here as soon as possible. And then all our problems will get resolved. Now, at that time, Lord Nityananda was sitting under a banyan tree on the bank of the Ganges, and tears glided from his eyes, and he chanted the holy name of Krishna. Then Gauridasa, along with relatives, went to Nityananda Prabhu and fell at his lotus feet, and the Lord quickly picked him up and patted him on the back. And he said, my dear coward man, have you all forgotten me? Now Nityananda Prabhu placed his hands on Suryadasa's shoulders, and Suryadasa Pandita fell at the feet of Nityananda Prabhu and lamented. He said that you completely bewildered my intelligence, and although you are capable of doing anything, you did not inspire me to give up my attachment for Varnashrama Dharma. Please give us the shelter at your lotus feet and save us. Now, saying this, the Pandita took Nityananda Prabhu to his home, and his daughter Jannava was lying at the doorstep, covered with a cloth as the sunshine fell on her, and she appeared like lightning striking gold, and her eyes bulged in their sockets as tears fell from them, and her curly hair enhanced the beauty of her forehead, and the symptoms of impending death appeared. And at that moment, the aroma of Lord's body entered her nostrils, and by smelling this aroma, she immediately regained her consciousness. And Jannava hurriedly covered her face with her cloth and said, where I am, what is happening? She then got up and entered the house, and at that time, Nityananda Prabhu he displayed his six-armed form in the courtyard of Suryadas Pandita. With his two upper arms, he held a bow and an arrow, and his two middle arms held a plow and a stick, and his lower two arms carried a sannyasa danda and water pot. And his head was adorned with a crown, and his ears were decorated with earrings. And he was looking extremely beautiful, and the Pandita prayed to the Lord with folded hands, and all the Brahmanas who had gathered there were struck with wonder upon seeing the wonderful six-armed Lord. And soon the six-armed form of the Lord disappeared, from everyone's vision, and only two armed Nityananda Prabhu remained, and he was smiling at everyone. And then arrived Nityananda, then they served Nityananda Prabhu with great care and affection and made him comfortable. Then the learned Brahmanas and the family priest decided to award Nityananda the sacred thread according to the Vedic injunctions. And when they disclosed their plan to the Lord, he accepted it with a laugh, and he said, "Do whatever you like to do." And when they heard about the Lord's approval, everyone became happy. And thereafter, the Brahmanas called for their family priest and carefully chose an auspicious day for marriage of the daughters of Suryadasa Pandita to Nityananda Prabhu. And from that day, there was a constant celebration at the Pandita's house. And day after day, more and more friends and relatives arrived at their house. And one on the day of the marriage, the Brahmanas came up to Suryadasa Pandita's house, and after finishing their regular duties, and they brought the required paraphernalia for the marriage ceremony. And after the Brahmanas had prepared the sacrificial arena, the head priest asked Nityananda Prabhu to come, and as Nityananda Prabhu sat in the midst of the Brahmanas, they offered ghee in the sacrificial fire, and while chanting the Vedic mantras, then thereafter, at the end, the Lord begged everybody to give alms to him. This was the thread giving ceremony. The wife of Suryadasa Pandita respectfully placed gold, silver, and money in the Lord's bag. And when the priest told Suryadasa Pandita to bring the bride, Nityananda Prabhu said, "Do that later." And when he whispered something in the ears of the priest, they quickly said, "That is all right." And holding a stick and a water pot, Lord Nityananda repeatedly laughed aloud, and he wore gold wooden shoes and held an umbrella, and he appeared just like a young Brahmana while gazing at him, enchanted. Everybody smiled and they became very, very happy. And the Lord then entered a secluded room and continuously remained there for 3 days. And rising early in the morning on the fourth day, the Lord looked at the sun and the Brahmanas before coming out of the house, and all attractive Nityananda Prabhu then offered his obeisances to Lord Vishnu and sat down on a wooden throne. And hundreds of women from Navadvipa came to the house of Suryadasa Pandita holding each other hands, and they started singing and offering obeisances to him. And like this, the ceremony went on. Thereafter, Suryadasa Pandita told his relatives to decorate that, his daughters, that is the brides, and Nityananda Prabhu also, that the groom. And hearing this, everybody became happy, and Nityananda came out and sat in the courtyard of the Vishnu temple, and Goridas Pandita began to decorate him, and Nityananda was naturally very, very enchanting, and everybody enjoyed the ceremony. Then the ladies began to dress Jannava Mata, and they put a golden ring with a pearl hanging from it on the tip of her nose, and it swung on the top of her upper lip as she moved. It appeared as if honeybees were falling over the sesame flower. Like this, after decorating Jannava to the best of their ability, the ladies put betel nut in her mouth and hung garlands of fragrant flowers around her neck. Thereafter, all the relatives and friends of Suryadasa Pandita told him to take his daughter and circle the groom, and Pandita at once accepted the proposal. And everyone rushed in all directions to gather the necessary items for the marriage ceremony. And like this, it carried on for a long time. And thereafter, they told the city, and then Nityananda Prabhu came back to the house of Suryadasa Pandita, and Suryadasa Pandita offered incense, ghee lamp, and sandalwood paste and flower garland to Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu was then made to stand on a low wooden platform, and his radiance spread in all directions. And holding ghee lamps and flower garlands, the Brahmanas circled Nityananda Prabhu 7 times. And the ladies, they smiled, and Janava and Nityananda glanced at each other and threw flowers and pan, and their spontaneous love for each other was awakened. And Suryadasa Pandita offered jewelry, clothes, and other items to Nityananda Prabhu. And in the morning, Nityananda Prabhu took bath and then sat down for the Vedic ceremony of putting sindura vermilion on the bride's head. And the Brahmanas performed the fire sacrifice according to the Vedic rules. And finally, hundreds of Brahmanas were served a feast. And Nityananda Prabhu thereafter lived happily at Suryadasa Pandita's house for a few days. And what happened one day, when Jannava Mata was serving Nityananda his lunch of Krishna Prasada with utmost care, the younger daughter of Suryadasa Pandita named Vasudha, whose mind had always been firmly attached to Nityananda since her childhood, came to assist her sister. As she was serving prasada to Nityananda Prabhu, the part of her sari covering her head suddenly fell. Since both her hands were engaged in serving, she manifested two more hands, that is, she became four-handed, to again cover her head with her sari. Seeing this, Nityananda Prabhu caught hold of her hand and made her sit to his right. Then Nityananda said to Suryadasa Pandita, I will take your younger daughter with me as dowry. And he said that I have no objection. Suryadasa Pandita replied that there is nothing I could refuse to you. I have surrendered my caste, life, wealth, house, associates, and everything at your lotus feet, because they knew that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. He may be behaving like a common man. And saying this, Suryadasa Pandita raised his hands and danced in ecstasy. And he offered his second daughter also to Nityananda Prabhu. Now, this is about Nityananda Prabhu. Next time, I'll talk about the birth of Veerachandra Prabhu and disappearance of Nityananda Prabhu before we take on these stories from Prema Vilasa. Hare Krishna. I have finished for the day. Any more questions or comments, or after that we'll have the Nrsinga prayer, please.
Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful pastime. Never heard earlier. This is from Chaitanya Bhagavat, you said, right?
Yes, Chaitanya Bhagavatam.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Very interesting. Like you said, like Nityananda Prabhu may behave like common man, but actually he's the personality of Godhead, Balaramji.
Yes, yes.
Wonderful. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji explained very the story explained in a very interesting way. Very interesting. Came to know about Srinivasa.
Because later on we'll be hearing about Jannava Mata. That's why it is better to know who was Jannava Mata and how she got married to Nityananda Prabhu, and what is her relation and what is her condition. That's why I thought I should cover these things from Chaitanya Bhagavata also.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So wonderful pastime. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I am so fortunate. I'm daily the Chaitanya Bhagavat.
Yes, yes.
Last 2 years, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes, you have gone through that. It is a very huge book.
Yes, Prabhuji. Or most important is that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's commentary. So
Yes.
powerful commentary.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
thank you.
Krishna, Hare Krishna Prabhu. What I had heard, I don't know. I didn't read the past times so many times, but once or twice only I have read, and I also heard some lectures. But whatever you said about Janava Mata, it is mentioned about Vasudha, and when whatever you said about Vasudha Devi was mentioned about Janava, that four-handed form was uh, shown by Janava Mata, and Vasudha was the one who fell unconscious and was going to leave her body. So this is what I had heard. So I was little surprised when it was interchanged in this presentation. I don't know.
Yes, all these stories from different sources, you'll hear little slightly different versions also, but we should accept them, all of them as correct only.
Yes, because of Kalpa Bheda, no? Yeah,
Maybe
and
Kalpaveda or anything else, but these are given in the authorized literature. So we should accept all of them as correct.
okay. Because I was going to present on Janava Mata, so I was doing some reading
Okay,
and research.
okay.
So
Okay,
that is why I was surprised today when it was interchanged. So I was thinking, when I present, what should I do?
okay, okay. Any other question? If there are no questions, then we can have the Nrsimha prayers, please.
May I sing?
Yes, yes, Mataji. Yes, yes, you are most welcome.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladalaine. Praladalaine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilatankanakalaye. Shilatankanakalaye. Sito nirsimho parato nirsimho. Sito nirsimho parato nirsimho. Yato yami tato nirsimho. Yato yami tato nirsimha. Bahi nirsimha hridaye nirsimha. Bahi nirsimha hridaye nirsimha. Narasimhamadim sharanam prapade. Narasimhamadim sharanam prapade. Tava karakamalavarinaka adbhuta shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipo Tanubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tava Karakamalavaре Naka Adbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipo Tanubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nrsingadev, Jaya Nrsingadev, Jaya Nrsingadev, Jaya Nrsingadev, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. भक्ति विघ्न विनाशक श्री लक्ष्मी नृसिंह भगवान की जय, श्री प्रहलाद नृसिंह भगवान की जय, श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. Then we meet tomorrow.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for a very
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna to all Prabhus and Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Thank
Prabhu.
you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.